How does one of the most explosive, most exciting talents in the entire NBA, a guy with a highlight reel for the ages and a contract worth hundreds of millions, find himself at a complete crossroads? We're talking about Ja Morant, and his story is a razor's edge between an all-time comeback and a total collapse. And believe it or not, it all starts with one unbelievable number: $50 million. Let that sink in for a second. That's the estimated financial hit Ja took from all of this, according to NBA insider Brian Windhorst. Now, this isn't just some slap on the wrist fine. No. This is lost salary from his suspensions, this is contract bonuses that just, poof, disappeared, and sponsorships that ran for the hills. We are talking about one of the biggest financial implosions we have ever seen from an athlete for their off-court behavior.
And look, the money was just the start of it. When the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, the most powerful guy in the sport, comes out and says he is shocked, you know this is bad, like really bad. This wasn't just a mistake anymore. This was a 5-alarm fire that sent shockwaves through the entire league.
So how did it get to this point? How does a player who has literally everything going for him risk it all, not just once, but twice? This, right here, is the anatomy of the $50 million mistake.
You see, to really get why the league brought down the hammer so hard with that 25-game suspension, you can't just look at that one final grainy video. You got to follow the breadcrumbs. Because this wasn't some random, out-of-the-blue incident. Oh no. It was the finale of a very clear, very troubling pattern of behavior.
Yeah, this storm had been brewing for a long time. It really starts picking up steam in the summer of 2022. Allegations of violence at a mall. Then, just a couple months later, a confrontation at his own sister's high school game. Then things get really serious in January 2023 with that Pacers incident. And then comes March. The first gun video, the first suspension. And somehow, just 2 months after all that, it happened again. Unbelievable.
So, looking back at that first suspension, I gotta ask you, was 8 games really enough? Was that a genuine punishment, or was it just a little slap on the wrist? Drop a comment and let me know if you think the NBA should have come down way harder, way sooner.
Okay, so after that second video, it was over. The grace period, the second chances, all of it, gone. The league gave him an opportunity to change course, and he just didn't. The fans, the media, the NBA itself, everyone was holding their breath, waiting to see what would come next. And yeah, the hammer was about to fall hard.
And there it is, 25 games, without pay. Just to put that into perspective for you, that is over a quarter of an entire NBA season. For a superstar player, the face of a franchise, this was the league making a massive statement. And the media reaction? Oh, it was immediate, and it was absolutely brutal. Stephen A. Smith just delivered this haymaker of a quote, saying Morant was becoming more known for guns than for winning basketball games. I mean, for a 2-time All-Star, that is about as devastating a blow to your legacy as you can get.
But it went even deeper than the sports talk shows. It started hitting his brand where it hurts the most, with the fans, with families. ESPN's Michael Wilbon told this incredibly powerful story about telling his own son, "Nope, we're not buying that shoe." When you start losing the trust of the very families and kids who look up to you, man, you are in a world of trouble.
Now, to really understand the gravity here, let's put this into some historical context, because this is where it gets interesting. His 25 games for conduct detrimental to the league is one of the biggest punishments we've seen in the modern NBA. Sure, it's not as long as what Gilbert Arenas got for bringing guns into the locker room, and it's nowhere near Ron Artest for the malice at the palace, but it's a huge signal that the NBA was taking his repeated actions extremely seriously.
So, with his reputation completely shredded and his career hanging in the balance, the only question left was, what now? With the game he loves taken away from him, Morant had no other choice but to face the music and, yet again, ask for one more chance.
And here's the thing you have to remember. He'd already tried to fix this once before. After that first incident, he did that big sit-down interview with Jalen Rose. He talked all about therapy, mental well-being, even trying Reiki and breathing exercises. He looked into the camera and called it a terrible mistake. But when that second video dropped,
all those words just felt empty. So after the 25-game suspension finally came down, there was no big TV interview. This time, it was just a written statement, a direct promise. I promise I'm going to be better. I'm going to make it up to you. And the entire basketball world was watching, wondering if this time, the promise would actually stick.
But look, promises are one thing. Action is something else entirely. And the stage that was set for Ja Morant's return, it was less of a stage and more of a complete disaster zone. Suddenly, this wasn't just about saving his own reputation anymore. It was about trying to save his team from total and complete collapse.
I mean, just look at the numbers. They tell the whole story. The Memphis Grizzlies, who were supposed to be a top team, had completely fallen apart without him. They stumbled to a horrifying 6-19 record. In the West, that's not just a hole, that's a canyon that is almost impossible to climb out of.
So the mission was simple, but it felt impossible. Ja Morant couldn't just come back and be a good player. Nope. He had to be a superhero. He had to be a savior, put a struggling team on his back, and somehow make up for 25 lost games, all while trying to prove to every single person watching that he had actually changed.
And that right there brings us to the ultimate question that hangs over this entire saga. Was hitting rock bottom, the public humiliation, the $50 million loss, the massive suspension, was that the final wake-up call he needed to become the legend he's capable of being? Or was it all just a speed bump on the road to a career defined by collapse?
So what do you think? Was this whole ordeal a necessary fire that will forge a true superstar, or was it just delaying the inevitable collapse? His story is still being written. Let us know your prediction down in the comments. And hey, make sure you subscribe for more explainers that go deep on the biggest stories in sports.